You know who doesn't have time for poverty? The Japanese. While you're debating whether to buy that 7 gourmet coffee, they're rebuilding highways destroyed by natural disasters in 6 days and stacking up fortunes with a method that seems straight out of another planet. Now tell me, how does a country that lost a war, had 2 atomic bombs dropped on it, and still deals with earthquakes manage to have one of the richest economies in the world? Meanwhile, some people spend an entire month waiting for a discount coupon just to save $2 on groceries. Ah, darling, today's enemy is reckless spending. If the Japanese can save money at record speed, why are you still financing your burger in installments? That's right, there's a secret to it. And no, it doesn't involve selling handmade bracelets or waking up at 5 a.m. to meditate. I'm Duchess Dollars, your rich bestie here to save you from financial ruin with a Japanese method so efficient it could be a top-secret Toyota project. But before I spill all the details, a quick PSA. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and hit the like button. Losing touch with me means losing money. And honey, money is the only thing that truly matters. I also pinned some links. In the first comment for rich people's must-have products, because let's be real, a millionaire woman can't live without the right accessories. Now, come with me. I'll teach you the Japanese way to fatten up your bank account without selling your dignity, just by adjusting how you use what you already have. Earn more or spend better. A dilemma. Even a Birkin bag won't solve. Sweetheart, everyone wants to make more money. That's obvious. But is that really the secret to getting rich? Because if simply earning more were the solution, every retired NFL player would be a millionaire instead of broke before 40. Making more money seems like the answer, but spending wisely is what really separates the wealthy from the ones just playing rich on Instagram. And the Japanese figured this out centuries ago. While some people think budgeting means living like a minimalist monk without the right to enjoy an artisan latte, the Japanese developed a method that proves the opposite. Spending wisely is the fastest way to build wealth. If that weren't true, how did an island nation with no natural resources and rent prices higher than a billionaire's therapy sessions become one of the world's strongest economies? Hold your champagne glass, because this is where it gets interesting. Japan has a method called Kakeibo, which is basically a financial journal. Yes, while you're out here buying an expensive planner just to make cute doodles, the Japanese have been using a simple notebook to track every cent and build fortunes. This method has been around since 1904, and guess who made it popular? A woman. Hani Motoko, Japan's first female journalist. That just proves what we already knew. Women are naturally better at managing money. If they weren't, rich men wouldn't be hiring wives to manage their emotional wealth. Why pen and paper instead of a modern app? Because, according to research, writing by hand activates areas of the brain linked to awareness and memory. In other words, you feel the impact of money leaving your account more when you write it down than when you just swipe on a screen. It's the same logic as paying with cash. When you physically hand over bills, you think twice before spending. In Kakeibo, you don't just write down your expenses. You also answer questions about every purchase. Basically, it's like your financial conscience grabbing a microphone and interrogating you. Did I really need this? Will this bring me long-term happiness, or did it just numb my frustration about being single? Could I have bought something better with this money? If these questions were asked before every impulsive purchase, how many micro bags that don't even fit a credit card could have been avoided? You get a great paycheck or close a big contract. So, you feel entitled to spend without guilt. But when you have no clarity about where that money is going, it vanishes faster than an unfaithful boyfriend's excuses. When you use Kakeibo, money stops being a mystery and becomes a strategic game. You start to realize it's not about spending less. It's about spending better. The goal isn't to live like a nun, but to spend in a way that increases your wealth instead of just filling your closet with pieces that'll be out of style next season. What's the lesson here? Spending less doesn't mean living worse. If the Japanese can maintain financial discipline and still have one of the highest living standards in the world, they're clearly doing something right. Spending carelessly just because you earn well is the biggest mistake of fake rich people. Look at the bankrupt celebrities who made millions and now have to pay their electric bill in installments. Money is like a problematic ex. If you don't control it, it disappears from your life. So my dear, keep dreaming about making tons of our money. But if you don't know how to spend it wisely, you'll end up with an empty bank account and a closet full of regrets. Rich women have always had one essential habit: total control over every cent. That's why, if even billionaires like Kylie Jenner and Taylor Swift make it a point to know where their money is going, who are you to live under the illusion of "I'll figure it out later"? But here's the problem. You hate numbers, think spreadsheets are boring, and prefer to live in let my credit card bill surprise me mode. Well, Japan has the solution. A method that doesn't require an app, doesn't need spreadsheets, and works better than any financial coach trying to sell you a course on Instagram. And to get started, all you need is a notebook and a pen. Yep, just like a teenager writing about her crush. But instead of whining about your ex, you'll figure out why your bank account is always thinner than it should be. Step 1. Face reality. No crying, please. At the top of the page, write down the start of the month. This isn't an emotional journal, so skip the new month, new opportunities nonsense. This is about money. Stay focused. Record how much money you have available. This could be your salary, side hustle income, allowance from your sugar, daddy, whatever. Just the total amount coming into your life without needing a miracle. Step 2. Decide how much to save and be reasonable, darling. Here's the plot twist. You decide how much to save before you start spending. And no, whatever's left at the end of the month is not a financial plan. If that's your strategy, congrats. We already know why there's never anything left. A practical example? Let's say you have $5,000 this month. You decide to save $500. That means you now have $4,500 to spend. Not a cent more. You've committed to saving. So, you have a clear limit on what you can spend. But what happens in Chiite reality? You see a pair of Gucci shoes on sale and start thinking, maybe I don't need to save that much. And this is exactly where Kakeibo's discipline comes into play. Step 3. Track every cent. Yes, even that 6. Starbucks coffee. This might be painful at first because you'll realize just how much money disappears on random stuff. But look on the bright side. It's better to get a reality check now than to have a meltdown when your credit card bill arrives. Write down everything. Rent. 2,500 groceries. 700 random coffee and snacks. 300. Yes, honey, they add up more than you think. Uber and gas. 500 weekend dinners and drinks. 600 streaming services. Apps and a gym membership you never use. 250 and then. You look at the total and realize you've already blown your budget before the month is even over. You went about your usual life tracking your expenses. So now, you have a clear picture of where your money is going. But if those numbers don't add up, well, now you can do something about it before you go into the red. The logic behind this method is simple. When you write things down by hand, you feel the impact of every purchase. Unlike mindlessly swiping your card or letting charges pile up automatically, spending money is just like gaining weight. People say they don't know how they gained 20 pounds, but if they wrote down every innocent little treat, they'd figure it out fast. Kakeibo does exactly that, except with your bank account. What's the lesson here? Plan first, spend later, not the other way around. Tracking every cent helps you spend better, not necessarily less. You can still buy your designer bag, but now with the confidence that it won't leave you broke. If you don't have the discipline to write things down manually, you probably don't have the discipline to get rich. Now, my dear, grab a notebook and start tracking your fortune before it disappears into a pile of charges you don't even remember making. The financial interrogation. The 4 questions your money wants you to answer. Darling, your money is looking at you right now and asking, where did I go? You worked, got paid, spent it all, and now you're staring at your credit card bill like it's a psychological horror movie. So, you promise that next month you'll spend less and be more mindful. But then next month arrives, and, surprise, you make the same mistakes. If I had $1 every time a woman told me, I don't even know where my money went, I'd already have bought another private jet. Fortunately, there's a way to break this cycle of self-deception. Ask your wallet when, where, and why it's losing weight. And that's exactly what the Japanese Kakeibo method proposes. A financial interrogation with 4 questions that will force you to face reality. It might even make you cry a little, but at least it'll be on a goose feather pillow. How much money am I really spending? You know that moment when you think you only spent a little, but then realize your bank account was hit by a missile? Yeah. The first question in Kakeibo is, how much did you actually spend this month? And if you've never tracked this before, brace yourself. You swear your biggest expense was rent, so you assume your finances are under control. But when you add up all those harmless little purchases, you realize you spent more on coffee, takeout, and Uber than on housing. This is your first reality check. Money doesn't just disappear, it gets redirected to places you don't notice. And if you have no clue where it's going, how do you expect to get rich? How much of my budget is being spent on nonsense? Now that you know how much you've spent, here comes the uncomfortable question. What was actually necessary? Your credit card statement says you spent $350 on brunches. Okay, darling, you can't survive on air and sunlight alone. But did you really need that 4th Aperol Spritz $600 on Uber? Well, you could have driven your own car, but as every rich woman knows, personal cars are just for collecting dust in the garage. 100 on shopping? Depends. Were they timeless wardrobe, staples, or just another cute top that'll be forgotten in your closet? Looking at it on paper, you realize 30% of your money went to unnecessary stuff. That money could have been invested and grown, but instead, it's gone. And all you have to show for it is a bunch of Starbucks charges on your statement. How much money do I want to save? If you don't set a clear goal, you'll save money when you can. And guess what? That never happens. The trick here isn't to be stingy with yourself, but also not to be naive. Saving $50 a month thinking you'll be a millionaire in 5 years isn't going to happen. Just like deciding to save $3,000 when your total income is $3,500 doesn't make sense either. Think about your future with love. Do you want to have enough money to fly first class and stay at the Ritz-Carlton? Or are you okay with a life of discount coupons and budget motels? So, you've set a savings goal. Now you have a number to aim for. But can you actually achieve it? That leads us to the final question. What can I change next month to improve my finances? This is the question that separates smart women from those who stay broke and blame the universe. Spending too much on food? Cook once a week. Yes, I know the kitchen isn't a rich woman's natural habitat, but think of it as an investment. Subscribing to every streaming service? Pick one and stop paying for content you never watch. Blowing too much on transportation? Maybe renting? A luxury car for the month would be cheaper than Uber every day. So now you've recognized where you're going wrong. That means you have the power to fix it. But if you don't take action, nothing will change. And next month, you'll be having the same financial interrogation, with the same answers. What did we learn? If you don't know where your money is going, it will keep going away. What seems like small daily spending can add up to a fortune by the end of the month. Saving money is about strategy, not luck. The only way to get rich is to take responsibility for your finances. So, my dear, grab your notebook and start asking the right questions. Or keep living in fear every time you open your banking app. The choice is yours. The method that transforms your wallet and your life without cutting champagne. You made money, you spent money, and now you're sitting there wondering where it all went. So, you decide you need to get financially organized. But every time you try, it feels like you need an MBA in economics just to figure out where to start. Darling, relax. I have the solution, and it doesn't involve cutting out essentials, like weekly massages, designer bags, or dinners that cost as much as rent. Japan solved this problem over a century ago with a method so effective that, if applied correctly, it could even make a Kardashian save money. Its name? Kakeibo, a financial journal as powerful as a profitable divorce. Why this method works, and why you should have started yesterday. Think about it. If monthly reflection didn't work, therapy wouldn't exist. And Kakeibo is basically financial therapy, but free. The secret? It doesn't just show you where you're making mistakes. It forces you to make better decisions. This means that, over time, you won't buy that ridiculously expensive bag just because you were feeling sad. You'll buy it because you actually can, and without guilt. Now, don't expect overnight miracles. Kakeibo follows a 3-month process that, if you stick to, can change your financial life forever. Month 1, the reality check. You finally open your notebook and write down all your expenses. So, you think you're making progress. But then you look at the numbers and realize you spent more on coffee than on your retirement. The goal here is simple. Find out where your money is going. If it's going toward things that truly make you happy, like that 200 brunch with the girls, great. But if it's going toward bank fees, interest, or a meditation app you've never used, then we have a problem. Month 2, the financial detox. Now that you understand your habits, it's time for a cleanup. This happens. You cut useless subscriptions, adjust small expenses, and already feel a difference in your wallet. So, you get the false sense that you're 100% in control. But the real test is seeing if you can maintain this discipline long term. Here, you start setting realistic goals. No more, I'll save 90% of my salary and live off sunlight. Be sensible. Think like a rich woman. Adjust your budget so you can still enjoy luxury, just without the waste. Month 3, the rich life upgrade. You already know what works, so now it's time to refine the strategy. You realize you've saved more money than you expected, so you start thinking about what to do with it. But instead of just letting it sit in your account, it's time to consider strategic investments. This is Kakeibo's final stage, making your money work for you. At this point, you can decide whether to invest it for future growth, use it to improve your quality of life, start a business and multiply it. Because smart women don't save just to sit on money, they save to grow. Make more money or manage what you already have? That's the real question. And the answer? Knowing how to manage money always wins. If making more money were the solution, how do we explain millionaire athletes who end up broke, doctors earning fortunes but drowning in debt? The problem is never the salary, it's how it's spent. You've realized that financial organization is more important than just increasing your income. So, now you have all the tools to make your money grow. But the question is, will you actually apply them or keep waiting for a miracle? Darling, if you want extra money, next month it's simple. Grab a notebook, start Kakeibo, and stop throwing your money down the drain. So, my dear, now you know the Japanese secret to saving 100K fast. And the real question is, are you going to use this, or will you keep financing your fast food? You've learned that the Japanese don't become millionaires by accident. So, you already have all the tools to make your money grow. But is saving alone enough? Because sure, it's great to control what you already have. But what happens? When you actually start having extra money? Do you stuff it under your mattress? Do you buy even more 7 lattes just because you can? Or do you let your money work for you while you relax at a luxury resort? If the last option sounds way more appealing, then you need to learn how to make money without working. And that has a name: dividends. Japan taught you how to accumulate wealth, but now it's time to learn how to multiply it without lifting a finger. If you want to know how to make your money work while you shop at Chanel, there's a perfect video for you. Dividends for Beginners: How to Get Rich Without Working, 2025. And now tell me, what was your favorite part of this video? Drop a comment below. Rich like a Japanese if you loved it. I want to see who's truly committed to a thriving bank account. And of course, if you want to be rich and not just look rich, hit that subscribe button and like this video. Because missing one of my videos means missing money. And, darling, that's a luxury you can't afford. Oh, and one more thing. In the pinned comment, I left links to rich people's essentials. You know, the must-haves for a woman who takes her fortune seriously.